Hello everyone and welcome to the news. Hundreds of former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo supporters camped in front of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, and The Hague on Tuesday to protest against his detention. However, Gbagbo did not attend the hearing and his lawyer, Emmanuel Artit, continued his line of defense. ICC prosecutors say Gbagbo committed crimes against humanity during the 2010 post-vote violence which killed about 3,000 people in Côte d'Ivoire. Now to Mali, representatives from the United Nations, the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and other partner countries are meeting Tuesday and Wednesday in Bamako to finalize operational plans for deploying troops to Mali to help it retake the north of the country from militants. More than 300,000 people have fled northern Mali this year, many of them into neighboring countries. South Africa's census shows the nation as fifth in population in Africa with 51.7 million people, an increase from 44.8 million in 2011. President Jacob Zuma said the census shows progress in the African economic powerhouse, adding that the 2011 census shows South Africa is young and on the rise. Two provinces left in growth. Gauteng province was up 3% and the Western Cape saw its population increase to 28%. Sudan's army says fire has broken out again at the Sudanese arms factory that was recently targeted by an Israeli airstrike, killing at least 2 people. Sudan's official Sunan news agency quoted army spokesman Sawami Khalid Said as saying there is no new attack, but the fire broke out again. It began in some places not tended by firemen before. Residents of the area also reported smoke over the Yarmouk military facility in southern Sudan. In Rwanda, a court in the country has sentenced the country's top opposition leader to 8 years in prison for treason and genocide denial, a charge stemming from the nation's murderous ethnic attacks 18 years ago. The court acquitted Victor Ingabi, who had planned to run for president on charges of promoting ethnic division, genocide, ideology, creating an armed group, and complicity in terrorist acts. Ingabi's lawyer said, Lane Edwards said Ingabi will appeal the court's ruling. To Libya now, the country's General National Congress has postponed a vote on a proposed cabinet lineup presented by Prime Minister Ali Zaidan following a protest at the National Assembly's meeting hall. The protest erupted on Tuesday when about 100 demonstrators stormed the National Assembly as its members were prepared to take turns to cast their vote. Also on Tuesday, the newly appointed Premier proposed his 30-member cabinet for approval. Remaining in Northern Africa, we're taking you to Tunisia. The country's state news agency says one protester has been killed and 3 security officers injured in clashes near the capital, Tunis. Reports say protesters went on the attack in the Tunis suburb of Manouba after police arrested a Salafist suspected of assaulting the head of the suburb's public security brigade. The government has pledged to crack down on extremist violence since deadly protests outside the U.S. Embassy last month. But the opposition accuses the government, led by the Islamists and another party, of failing to restrain violence by Salafists. Now to the United States, where businesses and services in the northeastern part of the USA are expected to start reopening on Wednesday after 2 days of closure forced by Storm Sandy. Some airports, government buildings, schools, and the New York Stock Exchange are due to return to business, but many homes still have no power, and the New York subway will remain shut as the storm is still causing severe disruption after moving inland from the coast. More than 40 people are dead At least 22 people were killed in New York City alone. And President Barack Obama, who has suspended his election campaign, is due to visit affected areas in New Jersey. The cost of clearing up after the storm has been estimated at $30 to $40 billion. Away from that, one Syria's envoy or UN/Arab League envoy to Syria, Lakhdar Brahimi, has expressed hope after holding talks in Beijing on Wednesday with Chinese Foreign Minister Yang Jiechi that China will play an active role in helping end the violence in Syria. Yang thanked Brahimi for his work and said he hoped the discussions, the third in 2 months, would promote mutual understanding and the appropriate handling of the Syrian issue. An ally of Syria, China has, along with Russia, exercised its veto in the UN Security Council to block resolutions aimed at putting more pressure on Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. We're taking you now to Burma, where at least 300 Muslims have been killed in recent attacks by Buddhist extremists in the country, as a new wave of ethnic and sectarian violence has targeted Rohingya Muslims in the country. Reports say at least 50,000 Rohingyas have been displaced in the fresh round of violence in the country's western regions. Authorities said on Monday that 88 people were killed this month, bringing the total death toll since June to about 180. Okay, now to the Philippines. A court in the country has entered a not guilty plea for the country's former president, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who faces charges of graft. The 65-year-old former president went to court in the capital, Manila, for the first time on Monday. Arroyo was arrested after an anti-graft court charged her with plunder for allegedly spending 366 million pesos, that's $8.8 million US, from state lottery charity funds on election campaigns. And U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and European Union Policy Chief Catherine Ashton have begun a joint diplomatic tour of the Balkan states. In a visit to the Bosnian capital Sarajevo on Tuesday, Clinton and Ashton called on Bosnia, Serbia and Kosovo to overcome their political and economic disputes in order to facilitate integration with the EU and NATO. In the Serbian capital Belgrade, the two officials asked the government to mend fences with Kosovo, the former Serbian province where ethnic Albanians declared independence in the year 2008. We end with this one. IMF Chief Christine Lagarde has said developed economies must push on with fiscal consolidation to decrease long-term debts. Lagarde made the remarks in Berlin on Tuesday after holding separate meetings with German Chancellor Angela Merkel and a number of heads of world economic agencies such as the World Trade Organization and the World Bank. She also called on emerging economies to loosen up fiscal and monetary policy to boost up their dipping growth. Well, that's all from us. Thank you for trusting us. Remember, you can log online to www.afriquemedia.tv for more news. Bye for now.